If you are sick of dating apps and you want to meet a woman in real life, there are still so many opportunities out there. You don't have to go to a club or to a bar to meet women. In fact, I would say these aren't the best places anyway. Doing what you love and expanding your own social circle is by far the greatest method to increase your chances of meeting a woman that you have a serious connection with. But if you're not sure where to start, or you're looking to take up a new hobby in 2024, these 5 suggestions will be a great way to meet more people organically. I've brought my girlfriend, Augustina, along for the video to give you some useful insider tips and a female perspective. So let's get started with hobby number 1. If you want to meet more women in real life, dancing is by far the greatest method, and it's one of the best ways to improve your social life all round. That's because dances like ballroom, swing, tango, salsa, and bachata are social dances where it's expected that you will switch partners and dance socially throughout the night. Also, learning a new skill in a tight-knit group of others is a great way to bond and have something in common with each other. And you'll be adding to your own repertoire of skills which will come in handy next time you're at a wedding or a club. Augustina, dancing tango is one of your favorite hobbies and you've been doing it for several years. If a man is interested in a woman at a social dance, what is a respectful way that they can approach that situation?
I'll give a do and a don't. So I wouldn't start being like flirtatious during the dance. You want her to feel very comfortable with you, very safe. What I would do is when you're done dancing with her, be like, hey, can I invite you for a drink? Or if you guys have been chatting all night and it feels like things are like really nicely connecting, then you could be like, hey, before the next salsa night or milonga or something like that, would you like to go to dinner with me beforehand? I think it's really nice to connect outside of that space. As you fall in love with the dance and as you become more integrated with the environment and the world, you're going to start seeing that kind of as like your happy place. And so it's also her happy place. So I think it's best to keep kind of like, it's great to meet people there. But you'll want to keep it both of you guys' happy place. So it's better to explore what romantic interest you may have with someone maybe outside of that space, just to preserve that for both of you.
Sure, it's just about a place where you can potentially meet
cross
people.
Paths, right?
Yeah, and some of these dancing styles to an outsider, they might look quite sexual, but don't interpret that the way the woman is dancing with you, especially when it comes to salsa or bachata, as necessarily being interested in you. She might just be enjoying the dance in her own way. So it's best to save the dancing for the dancing and then romance for after that.
That's exactly right.
If you want more women to strike up a conversation with you and you want to seem more approachable to women, then having a dog is one of the most effective things you can do. Now, getting a dog is a huge commitment and you should only get one if you really want one. Everyone knows that women love photos of you holding pets on your dating app profile, and the effect is the same in real life, but there are also some added social benefits. You're going to be going out once or twice a day into the world and at places with other dog owners, such as parks. So you immediately have something in common with these people, and it's going to be an easy way to strike up a conversation. If you take your dog to a coffee shop, women are going to want to pet it. They're going to ask you your dog's name and you can go from there. So although I love cats, dogs really are the winners when it comes to improving your social life and your dating life. Augustina, what is it about owning a dog that seems to make a man so much more attractive to women?
I think it says something about who a man is, and that he has a gentle side to his personality. When you're a pet owner, it's a very selfless thing. Like, you're taking care of something else, you're nurturing something else. You clearly have to be responsible. So that means obviously taking care of that animal's need, being prepared to like take an animal to the vet, and just having something that you give this like soft, sweet side of yourself to. So I think it indicates to women that that man has like a gentle, nurturing side to him, and that's very attractive.
The best sport you should play if you want to meet more women is tennis. Pretty much all women love tennis, which you can't say about many other sports. And it has a really low barrier to entry. You just need a racket and balls, which are really cheap, and a court near you. If you want to meet new women, you can join a tennis club. These clubs are likely to attract intelligent, classy women who take care of their bodies, which I'm sure is the kind of girl you're looking to meet. And tennis can be a fun, casual date for the second, third, or fourth date, especially if you finish it off with some post-match cocktails. Whomever you are playing with, it doesn't matter if you're not very good. It's more important that you can show that you have fun while playing and not take yourself too seriously. So if you're a guy in a relationship, I also recommend that you try playing tennis with your girlfriend. This is something Augustina and I used to love doing when I lived in an apartment complex with tennis courts. It's a very fun activity that we both enjoyed, and it was a great way to get some exercise. Augustina, what do you think about activity dates during the early stages of dating, like tennis?
I think they're a great idea. I think it can take a little bit of the pressure off of conversation, and it allows you to see different sides to a person. Like, is someone a bad loser? Do they show good sportsmanship? And it's just fun.
A very underrated way to meet high quality women is by attending professional conferences and in-person courses. People don't go to these events to meet people of the opposite sex, but that has a lot of advantages actually. Firstly, it takes away the pressure on your end, and secondly, it makes it more natural to strike up a conversation with a woman about something that is happening at the event. But the best thing about these conferences and courses is that it immediately filters out the type of people who will be there. You know they have something in common with you, that they're intelligent, and that they are serious about improving their career or their lives, all of which I'm sure are very attractive traits to you. Just remember, these events aren't dating events, and not to be overly flirtatious or physical with somebody unless you are certain there is mutual interest. And much like the dancing example, it's a good way to put yourself in the position to meet these people, and then you can initiate a more romantic kind of interaction outside of that event. And from a woman's perspective, what are some of the advantages of meeting a man in these types of events like conferences and courses?
I think a lot of the times women connect with the sides of a man's personality that aren't immediately on show when a man's like trying to have game, trying to be flirtatious. And sometimes I think that's where men accidentally miss the mark. And if you watch a lot of rom-coms and stuff, they're never like falling for the guy who's got like the great one-liner. There tend to be these like kind of semi-platonic environments where you get to know each other naturally. And then there are these like, I guess, more subtle parts of a man's personality that women get to see. And if you're like working on a long class project together or hanging out with someone over the course of like a weekend conference or something like that, you're going to be seeing more of these like natural sides to his personality than like when you're actively like trying to show off and be flirtatious. And so I think that gives a much more easygoing environment for women to see the real you. And I think that may actually be a better situation for women to be attracted to you.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point. And a lot of the traits that women find attractive in a man, such as his diligence, being hardworking or ambitious, they're more likely to see that from you at an environment like a course or a conference where you're only there because you have those traits. So they really get to see the real you, not some kind of facade that you're trying to put on to be attractive. So this final suggestion came about from a conversation that Augustina and I were having during lunch yesterday. If you're a guy who wants to meet more women, consider what activities women enjoy doing. For example, a pottery class, smoke and paint nights, or poetry readings aren't activities that are appealing to the majority of straight men. So in these situations, there might be like 30 women there and just one or two of their gay friends. And what's even better is that women are going there to deliberately expand their social circle. So although they're not necessarily looking to meet men, that creates a low pressure environment where you can strike up a conversation with somebody. And you'll be bonding over a new shared experience or interest that you have, which gives you an immediate in to go and build rapport. Now, I know what some of you will be thinking. Do women think that the men at these types of events are gay? Well, they presume that you're gay if you're going to these. But what do you think?
I think that at the very beginning of a conversation, that doesn't really matter anyways.
Sure.
That's something that if you guys start connecting as people, you'll eventually, that will be figured out.
Yeah.
Also, I don't think it's the worst thing in the world for someone to maybe presume that you're gay for like the first 2 minutes of a conversation. But I think by eventually expressing interest, or if your conversation organically is rich enough and continues on long enough, that person's going to realize that that's not the case. But I also don't think we live in an age anymore where people just presume that someone's orientation by whatever activity they're doing. Like, men can be creative too. And I think a lot of women like the idea of being with someone who's creative or sensitive or like emotionally in tune. So
that's true. Actually, it could be a refreshing change for a woman to meet a guy who actually has a shared interest that they haven't been able to have with a guy before. Yeah. So how can a guy go about finding these types of events in his city? Because personally, I'd never even heard of what a smoke and paint night is until you told me about it.
I think there's a couple different ways. The first and simplest way is literally just typing in your city name and then looking up different like social events. You're probably going to get a couple BuzzFeed articles. And this is very like putting your toe in the water of that. Once you start looking for more social things, you're like following like a page on Instagram that like organizes a weekly picnic in your city's park or something like that. Things are going to start popping up in your social media algorithms that introduce you to these like different events and stuff like that. For example, for our trip, I had just started looking up like different bars and stuff like that. And all of a sudden, all these things just start showing up in my feed that I haven't even particularly looked for, like a wine tasting night or different stuff like that. The other is tap into the social network that you already have. Like, do you have a platonic girlfriend, a sister, a cousin who is very outgoing, who likes these social events? My favorite cousin here, when I was like, what do you want to do? She sends me a Google Doc of like 50 amazing things that we can go do. So talk to people also, ask them what they're doing.
You could also go with them. Go with your sister, go with a female friend. That might make it a bit more comfortable for you as well.
That's a really good idea.
So I hope this video has given you some useful and practical suggestions for how you can meet more women organically in 2024. Even if you go to these things and you don't meet any women that you're interested in, at least you'll be able to make friends who have things in common with you. It's about expanding your social circle with your compass pointed in the direction of meeting more women. But that shouldn't be your only reason for doing any of these activities. Otherwise, you will come across as needy and desperate, which in turn will end up being a very unattractive trait. All of these hobbies give you the potential to meet your next girlfriend, the love of your life, or just somebody more casual. But always be respectful, always be a gentleman, and always allow your connection with any woman to grow naturally. Gentlemen, let me know in the comments if you plan on taking up any new hobbies in 2024. And as always, I look forward to hearing from you. Thank you, Augustina, for joining us again in this video.
Yeah, of course.
It's always great to get your perspective on things. Bye-bye, guys.